Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to be so simple. Like, go to any line, he'd go to any.
COVID. That's something to do with it. Nobody knows.
Inside. I mean, I was just like, dude, you gotta grow out of this. Yeah. All right, folks, let's call this meeting to order. It's now 5:03. Call the City of Plattsburgh regular meeting to business June 17th, 2021, 5:03. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Starling, will you please conduct a roll call?
Mayor Rosenberg.
Here.
Council Canales.
Here.
Council Kelly.
Here.
Council Gibb. Here. Council Sally. Here. Council McFarland. Council Moore.
Here.
All councilors have received a copy of the minutes of the June 3rd regular meeting. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I will now take a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Councilor Gibb, second. Councilor McFarland. Any alterations, changes, deletions? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I'll now recognize those in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the council on any topic. Please come to the podium to be acknowledged, and when called upon, we ask that you please state your legal name and address for the record in accordance with the organizational rules of order. All speakers will be given 5 minutes to address the council. Oh, Mr. O'Keefe, how are you?
Good, Mr. Mayor.
Good.
Good evening, councilors, council. Mr. Mayor, my name is Thomas O'Keefe. I reside at 48 Colby Avenue in Plattsburgh. I rise, I guess, to a motion of old business for my own peace of mind, I guess. As you know, construction is going on. Thank you, Council Gibb, for keeping me in the loop. That's the way it should work. It's great. Just an FYI, it's I hate to be you know, they say a prophet's not known in his own land. That's the last call Hebrew Bible quote I'll use. But it is problematic because the north, anybody entering through the north end. However, the good news is they're doing a fantastic job. I mean, it seems to be only temporary. The trucks are very minimal, going by my house to run out. So that's a good thing. They're doing a good job. I came down here today a little early, and always punctually early, or psychotically early, I should say. And the street was already cleared, and that's a daily thing. That's the good news. My concern is, having worked for the government for a number of years and seen budgets pass and things go from one fiscal year to another, different councils, different mayors, etc. I want to make sure we're still on the record with the same plan, because I have concerns that the sidewalk roll may migrate south of Dennis. And while I don't necessarily, I'm not going to get into all the reasons I don't like the sidewalk idea, I refer again to one street behind Sandra, which was paved, I believe, a couple years ago, and it wasn't done in accordance with the ADA. We've heard time immemorial from the start that, you know, the only reason sidewalks are being put in is because it's compliance with the ADA. Well, you know, councilors and Mr. Mayor and Council, the ADA has been in effect since 1990. You know, so I mean, you know, if we're going to start laying sidewalks all over the place, it really has an impact on my life. And I don't want to see this get conflated with other issues, and then the next thing you know, what happens is somebody's putting a sign on my lawn and off we go. So I guess that's the first thing I would know is the plan that we came to a compromise. And the reason, by the way, that I'm here is somebody said in the paper that there was no issue with Cogan Avenue. Well, I mean, you beat us up pretty hard a couple years ago. There was a really good compromise. I got to give you credit for that. It was a good compromise. I just want to make sure that that word is still going to be the same with different councilors and a different mayor. That's the first thing. The second issue I have an issue with is, this is kind of an ironic, and it just kind of really pisses me off, and I want to say it, so I'm going to say it. I've complained for years to try to get a crosswalk between Ruger and Colgan, specifically for field house events. Never happens, can't happen. Councilwoman Gibbs has looked into this for me. I'm not saying we haven't tried, but for some reason there's resistance to that. Then comes graduation. a full parking lot event, just like a full hockey game. And there's a police officer who campus at everything, helping people get in and out. It's a dangerous area. I would like it looked into. I'd like to have some type of collaboration perhaps between the city police and the Plattsburgh State Police for events, not just graduations. Those have an impact on our life. Those cars come tearing out of that field house. Hogan Avenue is right in front of them, and they come flying down our street. Just the presence of police slows them down a little bit. Which brings me to my last point that I'd like to ask you if you have considered with Hogan Avenue. Have you considered what we're gonna do with the parking, with the businesses next to, as soon as you enter on Hogan? And I'll tell you why I asked that. I'm not anti-business, I'm not anti-parking. But if you turn from Route 3, you face two problems. One, the light has become very short for people leaving Hogan. So they're getting ready to jump the gun. Two is everybody's more important than every one of us, and they've got to run that yellow light because they don't have 2 minutes to wait. And that is a pandemic in the city and in this county. You come pulling around that corner and somebody's backing out of Domino's, we're gonna have a big problem someday. I've seen pedestrians, not pedestrians, a cyclist hit right at that intersection before any of this started. And now we're adding sidewalks and we're adding a whole dynamic. So again, if I could just recap, is it the same plan? I'd like to take a look at some type of traffic flow for huge events at the field house. And last but not least, have we looked at the end of Hogan Avenue? To see if there's any way to minimize that, maybe increasing the light. I'd like to say let's talk to the engineer, but I think we get rid of them all, and that doesn't help us right now. So that's all I have. I'd like to thank you. I also got your report on the policing. I want to thank you. That's a marvelous piece of work, and I can tell you, based on 36 years of experience, you guys did a hell of a job on that. You really did. That's some phenomenal work, I think, for what that's worth. I'm sure there's people who disagree with me, and that's why we fought all those wars. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
And I'll follow up with you with those questions, all right, just to let you know.
One follow-up, Mr. Mayor. Should I just be following up with I really don't mean to
I'll work
sound
with your-
ignorant
I'll
about
work
this.
with
Can
your
I just
council.
email?
I'll work with Counselor to make sure that
Okay.
you got this.
I don't know exactly what the protocol is under your administration, how you want it done. I'd like to be compliant. Okay?
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Jump.
Sorry.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Hello, my name is Joan Jansen. I live at 29 Hogan Avenue, and I'd like to follow up some of the remarks made by Mr. O'Keefe, because I also live on Hogan Avenue, and I must say, so far, so good in terms of getting in and out. What I don't like, what I have heard, is from Luck Brothers that both sides of the street are going to be having sidewalks. I believe our compromise that we came to was that one side of the street, which was the western side, was to have sidewalks. So I'm admittedly not real happy about that, particularly when I think about the fact that the snow plows are going to go by. There's going to be a small area of grass, and that heavy, particularly salt-laden snow is going to come up onto the sidewalk for me to shovel, which I'm a shoveler. I don't own a snow blower. I'm probably going to have to buy one. I'm 64 years of age and was hoping for less maintenance instead of more. But originally what I came up here to talk about was to thank Mayor Rosenquist for postponing the purchase of the boat basin. I think the idea of having focus groups is a good idea, in part because as a taxpayer, I cannot demand a market analysis and feasibility study, but you as councilors can. And as a taxpayer, I would appreciate it if you would. You need to spend our dollars very wisely because we don't have a lot of them. The study that needs to look at demographic trends and especially post-COVID behavior. I say that because the market for the naked turtle has been in the past, Canadians and college students, both of which are probably on the decline. The Canadians have now been able to find other places to amuse themselves in Canada, and I think are probably unlikely to be returning to Plattsburgh in the numbers in which we've seen them. College students, all colleges right now are experiencing problems with enrollment simply because of shrinking demographic numbers, but also the challenge of being post-COVID, which is it costs less money to stay at home and take courses online. And as people's budgets are pinched, that becomes a better option. So I think it's going to be a few years before we see SUNY Plattsburgh return to the level of enrollment that we had at one point in time. So as you look over, assuming that you shall look over these books, think about not what the Naked Turtle did in the past, but what its future is going to look like. In addition, I would encourage you to take a very hard look at maintenance issues at the Turtle. It has been used as a cash cow, and very little reinvestment has gone into it. Therefore, the property will probably have eminent maintenance expenses. Find out those costs before you make an offer. It's only sensible to do so. Finally, I will take the city to task a bit because the city has a history of not taking care of its physical assets. And from my letter to the editor in the paper, I will point to the Freight Center, to the city beach, to the Oval. I would like to see the city before they lay out any money to buy this harbor site to prove to us for 3 to 5 years that they can take care of what they have, maintain it, and as a matter of fact, improve it. Today I was at Peter Burnett Park, and it's a rather forlorn sight to look at 6 whiskey barrels that were probably meant to have flowers in them, sitting amid mulch that has weeds growing up through it and weeds in the whiskey barrels. It was a good idea. Somebody spent money in order to make that happen. Did it happen the first year after it maybe had flowers in it? Probably not. Likewise, there are lots of things around town that need maintenance. Do those things first before you spend any more tax dollars on a potentially pie in the sky, which, again, taking it off the tax rolls, I feel more confident now since we press the time out button and we're going to have some focus groups that you will do us all a good turn by looking very carefully at this and determining whether it's in our best interest to purchase this or not. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Anyone else who would like to address the council? People, how are you, sir?
Good, sir.
Good.
My name is Steve Roy. I live at 156 Beacon Street in Plattsburgh, New York. Unlike Joe, I'm kind of on the opposite spectrum. I think the purchase of the basin is a great idea. I don't think you have the opportunity to offer to do so. I think the purchase price might be more negotiable. One of the things that I saw in the paper that really compelled me to come here was the belief that the previous city marina was losing money. And during my time here, I've had several people talk to me, and I truly believe that it was created by manipulation of the figures from the previous administration. And that if you were to talk to perhaps maybe John Duquette, you would see that the previous marina was in a positive cash flow. And that it was accelerated debt service placed upon the budget of the marina that caused the negative cash flow. Also, the lack of income from the sewage pumping charges were not included. So those things all to do with the fact that made it seem that the boat city marina was losing money, when in reality, it was not losing money. And I just felt that that should be available to people to know and something for you to explore and talk to. The other thing is the beach. I was glad to see that the fees are going up at the beach. Although I think $11 is a little bit conservative. As you listen to Joan, maintenance at the beach is a problem. Perhaps the rate should be higher and that those funds should be used for maintenance of the property. $11 does not even a parking fee for an all-day parking spot in a normal parking garage. Not to mention the access to the beach. That's it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else to address the council?
Hi, how are you guys? My name is Simon Pomeroy. I live out in Beacon Town, but I also kind of live, work, and play in the city. I just want to talk to you for a second about the beach. I really think it would not be good at raising the beach. Personally, I think the beach should be free to come to, just like you go to the Burlington Waterfront or the Montreal Waterfront or Coney Island, New York City. And then once you get there, the city has been the landlord, and they have set up vendors who pay to be there, and that's who pays all the bills. You know, the vendors pay to fix everything. The public comes and they buy a hot dog, a swimming later, whatever they do. Anyway, I'm just saying, I don't think we should raising fees at the beach, or you can marginalize people. I grew up in Beacon Town, and we never went to the beach ever did to pay. Luckily, I swam all over the lake and other places, but I missed out on the cultural experience of coming to Plattsburgh where people are and there's action happening to meet people. There's a lot of people out in Altona, Peru, all over the place that you might have seen mother living in a trailer that would love to go somewhere and maybe bump into people socially, maybe have an ice cream, let their kids run swim to the beach. I just don't think we should be charging people to visit our great asset, which isn't only a city asset. It's next to a state beach. The lake is Adirondack Lake. Montrealers consider their beach as well. I just think we should be welcoming people to the beach, and then when they come there, buy things, vendors who are there. Those vendors are the people that get money. They pay you the money, and that's how you better serve it. Anyway, last thing I wanted to say is, as far as waterfront goes, my family's involved when Frank Papps sold in the city to go over that section. I'm happy that happened. Now my kids play down there. They ride bikes down there. It's clean, it's grassy, it's not an old dump. I would never let someone own the waterfront. It's the front lawn of the city. I think you should definitely own it. And then hopefully you can not run a marina, you can rent or lease the marina to somebody to run. But whatever happens, you always own it. Someday the whole marina could be gone and just be a grassy field where people play frisbee and everyone loves it. No, I'm just saying you should own it and then you decide what happens with it. And I think $7 million is fair to own the entire water. Anyway, that's it. Thanks.
Exactly. Anyone else here address the council? Seeing none, we will now go to committee reports. Each standing committee is chaired by a councilor, and I will now call upon the chairperson of each committee, starting with city operations. Councilor Department.
Yes, we had our meeting on Monday, and we passed forth a couple items to the committee to vote, to the council to vote on today. So you see those. We also talked about events. Namely, the 4th of July is coming up. Mayor's Cup is coming up on July 10th. Right after that, that will be down at the City Beach this year. T-shirts are for sale. I saw them for sale at the farmer's market last Saturday. Christina, where else they might be for
Online,
sale?
you can find them online at the Mayor's Cup Facebook page. That you can go and just go online and purchase one at the farmer's market. I know there's a number of other physical places throughout the city that you can also purchase. Fortunately, I don't know where those all those are.
Perfect, but the Sunrise Rotary is organizing the Mayor's Cup this year, and it's going to be the first year it's down at the beach. It was going to be there last year. Obviously, it was canceled because of COVID. So we are hoping for a good turnout at the beach. This year, we are having fireworks for the 4th of July. So please turn out for the Mayor's Cup. But we also there's an item on the agenda today that was passed by full after our City Operations Committee meeting. Which is to allow vendors there that are not moving, but we also do hope to have food trucks. We passed a local law that allowed a lot of food trucks this year. So if you are operating a food truck, if you're looking to operate a food truck, please reach out to our city clerk and get a permit, and feel free to patronize both of those events.
Yeah, and the whole point of the food truck permit is that you can operate anywhere in the city, like a park, at an event. Anywhere that is non-residential. You can't just park on this corner of your street, but you can certainly come to any park. There's an event, ball games at Penfield or Fox Hill or something like that. So, and it's encouraged.
And as Legislator Commerce was pointing out, we do want commerce at these places. We want people there. And other than that, no further updates.
Thanks, sir. Finance, Economic Development, we did have our Finance Committee meeting. There are a number of items on this resolution pertaining to the Finance Committee. And anything else other than that, there's really no other update. City Infrastructure Council and more.
I didn't have any updates at this time, other than it's in the height of paving season, and all's going well so far. As long as the weather holds up, we'll be very happy.
Thank you. Public Safety Councilor Gibbs.
So we have our meeting on Monday, and I sent out an email to councilors, board and town to make sure to forward anything you want to talk about. I did ask the mayor yesterday in our weekly meeting for some requests to have the department heads available for some better stuff. So other than that, nothing else.
Thank you. Now move on liaison reports. Placer Public Library Council.
Yes, the library meeting is coming up this next week on the 22nd. On the agenda today, you will see an appointment, a reappointment of Mr. Bennett to the library board. We did discuss that a little at the city operations committee meeting. I would hope that the council passes reappointment. He's a great addition to the library board. And there still is another vacancy on the library board. If anyone is interested in being on the library board of trustees, please send a letter to the mayor. If anyone on the council knows anyone interested, please make it known to the library. But other than that, the library is going well. It is open. Please feel free to patronize the library.
Thank you. Placer Municipal Lighting Department Councilor Kelly.
Our next scheduled meeting is at the end of July. I hope all of you can attend. And tonight we're voting on an expense for the PMLD. That is for them to be able to test the relay reliability at stations, substations 1 and 2. And that's a very necessary part of their operations. It ensures that the electricity is not only reliable, but it's also safe for their employees. So hopefully get on board with that.
Has the council or everybody on the council had a tour of all the substations? The
I
driving
haven't.
tour?
I didn't, because when you had the tours, I was in school.
No. We never. We did MLB tour of the building itself. Yeah, we did. We did, but we never. You've never been on a drive. I don't think we've heard of a driving tour. I'll organize one. It's
Yeah.
quite fascinating where they are. You get like kind of lay of the land of where all the electric points and the circle grid about where it goes about in the city. So.
Somewhere in surprising places.
Yeah, they are, and you wouldn't notice them if they weren't pointed out. That's they're budding like that. So okay, I'll coordinate that. There are no special committee reports, but I will now entertain a motion to approve the payrolls of the various city departments for the weeks ending June 16th, 2021, in the amount of $564,593.06. Councilor Kelly, second by Councilor Moore. Roll call.
Councilor Canales?
Yes.
Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilor Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilor Talon? Yes. Councilor McFarland?
Yes.
Councilor Moore?
Yes,
Carried. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the bills audited by the Common Council for the week ending June 18th, 2021, in the amount of $381,256.40. Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Kelly. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilor Canales?
Yes.
Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilor Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilor Talon? Yes. Councilor McFarland?
Yes.
Councilor Moore?
yes,
Carried. Before voting on the following resolutions, I will note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees and department heads. We're now taking action on large part of these items, in large part due to the recommendations of the committees. Mr. Carlin, will you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted upon?
Item 7.136, authorizing revising capital project H5110.80, 2021 street resurfacing.
Motion. Councilor Kelly, second by Councilor Moore. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilor Canales?
Yes.
Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Councilor Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilor Talon? Yes. Councilor McFarland?
Yes.
Councilor Moore?
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.137, authorizing revising capital project H5110.79, 2021 equipment purchase.
Motion. Councilor Moore, second by Councilor Gibbs. Discussion.
Remind me, what is the point of this resolution? Was it?
It's rather than using particular fund, we've added items on here, and we're using CHIP funding instead. Perfect. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Canal?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item
Sorry.
7.138, authorizing revising capital project H5110.77, 2021 street resurfacing.
Motions. Sorry. Yep, I'm sorry. Motion by Councilor Moore, second by Councilor Kelly. Discussion.
What's the difference between this one and 511.8, 5110.80? They're both 2021 streets. I forgot my,
Real simply put, we received $2,036,000 from the state for a program called Storm Wraps. So the first resolution that we amended, we only, in the original resolution, put on spending for streets that we had rollover money. We got not only the money that we lost from the previous year due to COVID, we get a 15% bump, and then they added this $2 million. So this presented an opportunity for us to pay a bunch more streets. So we scrambled to put this together. You can see this, we're up on the street as we speak, trying to get this together, ready to go. So if everything goes right, we're looking at probably 15 streets.
perfect.
So Rich created a new project, and that's what
That's right, you were working on. We were shaking the other way, so you put it in that way.
Well, thank you, Mike.
You're hilarious, dude.
I don't know why.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Canal?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.139, award of contract to M, WRRF disinfection and odor control improvement.
Motion. Motion by Councilor Moore, second by Councilor McFarland. Discussion.
John, can you just describe to the public what exactly the odor control improvements are?
Can you do that for the next three items as well?
Sure.
So that we're,
There's three private contracts with this project. There's some mechanical, electrical, and in general. What's being done is there's two main components. One's the construction of a new disinfection building, which is going to house the sodium hypochlorite that we use to disinfect the effluent, and the sodium thiosulfate, which we use to dechlorinate that water before it goes out to the water after it's done disinfecting. The odor control component is covering the influent channels, the aerated grid tanks, and the wet well, and taking that air, which covers it's contained, and transmitting it to the existing activated carbon scrubbing system. So what we'll do is we'll be reducing the fugitive odors that come off some of these processes. We'll be taking them through a scrubbing system.
Now, John, one of the things I've noticed when you're down there, I rarely notice the smell, but one of the times when you do notice the smell is when there's a truck delivering sludge to the facility. Are any of these odor control improvements designed to mitigate smell being released when there's dropping off of sludge?
Yes, should help substantially with that. The long-term plan is to get those trucks off the waterfront and out of driving through downtown Plattsburgh and get them to a more remote discharge location where the potential odors aren't going to impact. So we're working on that part now.
Thank you.
Well,
thanks, sir. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Canal?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.140, award of contract to E, WRF disinfection and odor control improvement.
Motion. Councilor Kelly, second by Councilor Gibbs. Discussion. Roll call.
Council Canal?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.141, award of contract to G, WRF disinfection and odor control improvement.
Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor McFarland. Discussion. Roll call.
Council Canal?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.142, award of contract hauling of sludge from WRRF contract 2017-8, final 1-year extension.
Motion. Counselor Gates, second. Counselor McFarland, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Canales?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon? Yes. Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.143, award of contract WRRF 2021-02 electrical services for the WRRF in the city of Plattsburgh.
Motion. Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Kelly, discussion.
Yeah.
Roll call. Oh, yeah, sorry.
My only question is, I keep seeing WR, I remember there was a resolution, I think, last year. Is it called officially the Bill Todd?
That's the drinking water plant,
That's the drinking water plant, okay.
the WFP, water filtration plant.
Oh, mind you, thank you for that. I was just up there 2 days back, 3 days back. Amazing. We'll get you guys. It's just very fascinating. If you have, anybody been up there?
The water?
You've been up there. The water treatment plant up on Route 3? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, good job there.
Smart people too.
Yeah. A lot of
Thank
fun.
goodness we need the water.
Yeah. Oh, they're a big group of folks up there. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Canales?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon? Yes. Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.144, authorize extension of crate management agreement.
Motion. Counselor Kelly, second by Counselor McFarland, discussion.
Yes, Mayor,
Yep.
in preparation for this meeting, and I hope we can call Mr. Peters in case I say anything wrong. I asked Mr. Peters if he would give us some numbers on how many people use that facility during his tenure. And what I found out was that during the last period, which ran from November 2020 through April 21st, or 2021, sorry, that 1,280 games were played there. And there were 1,253 players in the first session and 1,437 players in the second session. Mr. Peters reported that there's an average of 4,300 people coming through the door there every week. Not necessarily to play games, but just to be there with their children or others and participate in that way and spectate. And that there are 100,000 plus user days in the 24 weeks that he was in charge. And would you mind describing for us what a user day is, Mr. Peters?
Sure, it's one person coming into a facility per day, basically. So we have players that play on multiple teams. If they come in 3 days a week, that's 3 user days. So it's a measurement of volume. It's a good number for them each to.
Okay, thank you. And he even went so far as to break it down into usage by community. I won't bore you with those details at this meeting, but I will email it to you so you can see where the participants are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, Patrick, thank you for forwarding. Counselor Kelly. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Canales?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon? Yes. Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.145, authorize execution of agreements associated with CDBG grant for Virus Home expansion.
Motion. Counselor McFarland, second by Counselor Gibbs, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Canales?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon? Yes. Counselor McFarland? I'm sorry, just.
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.146, reappointment of David Manette, Library Board of Trustees.
Motion. Counselor McFarland, second by Counselor Kelly, discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Canales?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon? Yes. Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.147, authorizing coordination agreement with Champlain National Bank.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second. Thanks. Counselor McFarland, discussion.
Can you remind me what this is?
Yeah, Dean, just remind us.
Yes, the mayor summarized this at our finance meeting. This was a request from a GG grant recipient. We received a reimbursable grant from the city. That reimbursable grant is support and or second up to any first liens or first mortgages he has on his property. That individual is seeking to refinance of his current first mortgages, and it's not going to change the city's exposure or its position, but the new bank who is possibly granting that refinance needs a new subordination agreement to reflect this new entity.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Canales?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
Yes.
Carried.
Item 7.148, authorizing new planning board fee schedule.
Motion by Councilor Moore, second by Councilor Gibbs. Discussion. Roll call.
Council Canales?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
No.
No.
Yes.
Council Moore?
Yes.
Yes, I was a no.
One in the negative.
Thank you.
Carried.
Item 7.149, updated city beach entry fee schedule.
Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor Kelly. Discussion.
Director Miller, if I remember correctly, we increased the fees in 2019, correct?
Yes, the council increased the fees in early 2019 to account for about 8 or 9 years worth of no raising fees prior to that. It really affects inflation. Later in 2019, at the council's request, Community Development Office and Recreation Department staff put together a series of updated fee schedules for all the major rec facilities in the Greater Beach that were intended to reduce the structural deficit that had been in place in the recreation complex for several years. So the updated fee structure for the gym was approved by the council late in 2019. The intention was to implement this new beach fee schedule in the spring of 2020, but then COVID hit and everything shut down, so there was no need for it for the beach fee last year. So this is just catching up.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Canales?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
No.
Council Moore?
Yes.
One in the negative. Carried.
Item 7.150, authorized budget transfer, general fund, city recreation parks.
Motion. Councilor McFarland, second by Councilor Gibbs. Discussion.
Mayor, can
Yep.
you describe what the
Yeah, so there's a number of unfunded parks maintenance budget line items that went into this year. This funding will go into fulfilling some of those park maintenance budgets. Materials, mulch, equipment maintenance, repairs to some equipment and buildings in our parks as well. Pretty modest at this point. There's not a lot that is going in. Some of the discussion that this council has had, which I'll come back, but I did want to get a confirmation from this council that, we've talked about removal of the northern bathhouse at the beach, which is officially condemned by our building department, as well as it is a hot building. It does have asbestos in the ceiling or the roof, as well as the walls, as well as the shack down at Sailors Beach. That's also asbestos laden building. Per that discussion, there was about $100,000 in demolition and hauling disposal fees associated with that. So I would like to get a verbal confirmation from this council that once we're ready to pull the trigger on that, that's going to be funded. But this fills some of the gaps that Matt's office is trying to accomplish with the maintenance of our current parks.
Do you know if there are any grant opportunities for condemned buildings to bring them down?
Not off the top of my head. We do have a grant writer organization that is working on a number of grants to fill on the beach plan, implementing the 2016 waterfront feasibility plan that Saratoga Associates building an implementation plan around right now. It's not outside of the scope, but we have a number of initiatives that grant writing firm is currently pursuing. Probably during the next finance meeting, I'll have them come and create a list. They've gone department to department. We're a little off topic on this item, by the way, just want to acknowledge that. They've gone department to department to gauge what initiatives each department is pursuing to create grants around, so. Potential.
Did they include the parks in your study?
They included everything.
I
They're
really
including
like to see
everything.
that.
Yeah, of course.
See what they might have cleaned.
Of course, yeah. Any further discussion on this item?
As for the beach getting rid of the derelict building, has to be done.
I
You
mean,
can put it off and it's just gonna be done in the future.
I mean, if one is condemned, and I try to go to the beach, not almost every day, but I leave here, I go up there, see how things are going. People go in and out of that building. It ain't good. So I would encourage you to go in and out of that building and see if you still want to stand in there. Young kids, high schoolers, grade schoolers that are riding their bikes up to the beach to hang out, they're going in and out of the building. There's no way to secure the building either, mind you.
It is not a nice.
It's open
inside.
Okay, there's no doors on it, it's just open. So anyway, that's where that's at. Any further discussion on this item?
Do you have any public comment?
Not on this item. Any further discussion on this item? Roll call.
Council Canales?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yeah.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
Yes,
Carried.
Item 7.151, authorized budget transfer general fund for striping contract services.
Motion. Counselor Gibbs, second by Counselor Kelly. Thank you. Discussion. Roll call.
Council Canales?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
No.
No. Council Moore?
yes,
One in the negative. Carried.
Item 7.152, approval of PML bid number 2021-4-1 for, NERC testing of relays and equipment at St. Lawrence number 1 and number 2 substation.
Motion. Counselor Kelly, second by Counselor McFarland. Discussion.
This is what you were talking about earlier, right, Mike?
Yes, yes, they would like to spend $300,510 to perform relay testing at St. Lawrence 1 and 2. And those are the sources of power that come from NIPA. So that's a very critical part of their network. So I'm happy to see this happen. And as I said earlier, it's important not only from a reliability standpoint, but from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, thank you.
Did I say something?
No, his phone's on, it's buzzing. It's funny noise. I had to call him out on it. Thanks, Kelly. Yep, that's right, sure is. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Canales?
No.
No. Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
yes,
One in the negative, carried.
Item 7.153, budget transfer general fund police septic fund pump replacement.
Motion by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Kelly, discussion.
So this.
Yeah, so I apologize. This came through today.
Yeah.
I originally asked PD to push this off to next week. Unfortunately, it cannot be pushed off to next week. This is the maceration pump because they are at a lower level than the rest of our system. Their wastewater is macerated and then pumped up pump up and out of their little valley that they're in. Both pumps have failed. They are manually engaging the pumps. So it's more of an emergency spending measure to replace the pumps which had been installed in the 70s. So I do apologize that this did come late, but it did come under emergency.
How much is it?
$14,500. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Canales?
Yes.
Council Kelly?
Yes.
Council Gibbs?
Yes.
Council Talon? Yes. Council McFarland?
Yes.
Council Moore?
yes.
Carried. I do apologize, but at this time I'll call for a motion to go into executive session to
personnel matters discussed with a particular person.
I'll make that motion by Counselor McFarland, second. Counselor Kelly, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Carried. We're gonna exit out, we're gonna go into another room. Once we're done executive session, we'll come back. Okay, so y'all can just hang out here and talk amongst yourselves. Or something like that.
I think that's,
Say the awkward silence. Like was that? It's good.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm getting as creative as I can. I've got some good help from Paul.
Should have went for 20. Less than a parking spot for a day.
What street do you live on?
156 Beekman. Why, you gonna raise my property taxes? I've already got a $30,000 bump.
I know you got the coast off.
And I didn't get any property tax. I'm sorry. Didn't get an option to do anything about it. I'm sorry.
The guys from long ago, work with you to get you access to the.
Well, hopefully we're gonna get in there. Okay. We're gonna get in there, hopefully. I'm sorry, Michael.
Well, you feel a little aggressive there.
It's tough times. Work hard to make things living.
We all do.
Yeah, you forgot to mention that, not only was that profitable for just 1/3 of the size of the project was supposed to be, that when they scrapped it, it made it unprofitable.
Yeah.
They need it from our kids around here for how much they probably got.
I know.
Actually, see, the agreement. Now, as a property, apartment house person, I'm taxed by what my building generates for income, not by market value.
Right.
Have you ever done the numbers at the marina?
Our marina or the boat basin?
The boat basin.
Yes. Rich ass.
They're not taxed the same. No,
$1.7 million for that.
it's a joke.
It is. I don't know how it's.
I didn't say that, by the way.
I don't know how it's remained that level.
Yeah.
They don't
It's
have
probably the same reason how,
Both basin doesn't have one of those tax abatement, property tax assessment deals in the city.
I
Don't think so, no.
I don't remember.
No, it's probably the same way the basin was able to rent the property, the city marina, for $25,000 less than debt service.
The only thing I can think about with the taxing, I'm wondering if an argument was ever made because they're seasonal. And the business is just that.
Yeah, but
I
if
don't-
it's based,
I'm sure that's what they're trying to do.
Yes, but you see the thing, the biggest thing, that assessment was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And they haven't done a revaluation of commercial properties in years. And of course, now you have these guys sitting around here saying, oh, the city doesn't have the same problems as it used to protect properties and stuff. Yeah, they do. It's just as bad. The thing
that's
is,
why you need a
the
special
thing is,
service fees.
the thing is, the residential and some of the commercial businesses have been assessed, reassessed, increased. They haven't touched the tax exempt properties.
I think so.
So when I first started working.
I'll mention it again early this fall.
It's ridiculous. Oh, well, we don't have that problem.
I'm gonna write all my yard, throw it out the front yard.
But you don't get it.
Well,
In the last 5 years,
volume
we have over $100 million of increased value of city properties. They're taxed. Nothing.
Our resources.
So I mean, you gotta be careful with what his research points out because.
Nice seeing you guys. Have a great day.
You see?
I received a text message from somebody. They're gonna be talking to you about the debt.
Are we on?
I can't turn it off.
All about how the debt on
I can't turn
the
it off.
city marina was changed from a 15-year debt service to 10.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
We'll have to go out.
Somebody's tickled pink to hear that. They didn't know. I gotta go to work.
How you doing? Good, how are you?
I am fine. Even if I didn't get an auction
Oh,
and I went to an out-of-town company
I don't make that.
without RRFIP, whatever the thing's letters. RFP. RFPs are mandatory.
Yes.
Bye, Michael. Huh?
No. I think you didn't need to have a space going on. Thank you very much. That's like, holy shit, what are you doing? Yeah, that's a big fallacy with this claim, oh, you know, it was not property tax again, properties. Yeah. It's like, yeah, of course. These guys are real stuff up like, you know, the other one said, oh, Glens Falls at a $9 rate. It's like, well, yeah. Glens Falls only has a 75% equalization. The tax rate per thousand is $13. It's higher than that. Oh, no, the state says it's only $9.80. It's like, well, yeah. They're doing the same. If everything was on 100% equalization, this is what their rate would be. But what's their rate actually being charged? It's higher than that. So you gotta be careful with these guys. Research and study. Yeah.
Is there plans for weekend though?
No.
No?
Get next to the table seat.
I should start putting a reserve fund on there.
Reserve things.
That's just a reserve for you.
Remember in the old chambers, the fire chief, Williams would sit in that same seat every time. So I put a sign up there, reserve.
But in your time here in the city, how many configurations have you seen in this room?
Well, we've only been here, we've only been here for it this way, the way we had it before, like we were in the old council chambers for until Jim County. We had it in a U shape over there with the old table.
Yeah.
This wasn't built until they came in here.
Yeah, it used to be 3 tables.
Yeah.
And they all went.
They all looked at each other.
I was here for that, and I remember moving here.
And if you went up to talk, you were like the bull in the rain.
Yeah.
You literally hammered from all 3 sides. That's, encountered by the audience when you're back.
Teach me to kick, though.
Yeah, I know.
Damn, this getting good.
I think he made a mistake there. He didn't need to swing that far. Shame that Captain Fury wasn't here to see that. He would have arrested.
We had assault here a while ago.
At least tased him.
What happened? We had some battery going.
Brody put the boots in.
About time.
Retaliation.
No, there's no self-defense statute in this state.
Retaliation gets you a 2-minute penalty.
That's it?
That's right.
Okay, I look at
Really, so if somebody comes after you, you can't throw a punch back and claim self-defense? Wow.
How you got?
That's really
Oh, really?
What are those states where you're allowed to have a gun and kill somebody? Stand your ground. Stand your ground state. We're not stand your ground state either. No. Usually they're all done south.
I don't see your state legislature ever passing a stand your ground.
Florida's definitely.
That's a good question.
Florida's insane, so.
Yeah.
Oh, but the weather's awesome. The weather's good.
Yeah. How's things down there with the pumps? Doing good?
Well, did they get to that already? Okay. That's.
When they say you're manually activated, do you guys have guys in the basement
Well,
with hand pumps?
No, it's the floats are shots, panel shots, so you gotta put them in cans to run, so the portion of the basin is bare.
They're,
There's something to hang out for, you guys just enjoy each other's company.
They're doing,
Executive session. Yeah, but, all the other agenda items done?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know why I'm still sitting here.
Oh, it's a nice crowd, you know?
Enjoy each other's company.
We expect that.
We just enjoy each other's company.
Oh, she's still here.
Yeah, we're just keeping that company, that's,
I'd be gone.
All right. I love you, Elba. See you, John.
yeah, maybe we can go.
See you, John.
So to have like kind of like some pumps down and the floats come off and sends the sewage.
Got a line of guys with buckets, just.
Yeah, it's a big duplex set, it's actually a very big set, not.
Didn't we have an issue a few years ago out in the parking lot or something got pitched and that's why I ended up paying for it?
No, it wasn't that,
But it's part of that system, right?
no, not when I was there. I had looked at that before.
So this thing's it's got an alarm on it, like a school bell. And it sits in the lieutenant's office, right behind the desk, and it never ever goes off. I was in that office for 4 years, never went off. Very proud he's been in that office for 3 weeks.
Right.
And that thing goes off, it's like no fallout.
I want to think of a good pun.
It's a high level, one, so you got on, off, low.
Isn't there a
You
good
got
pun about
low
police?
level, high level. High level.
There's gotta be a good joke in there somewhere, but I couldn't think of it.
Probably.
Restraining stuff. So, 5 people watching.
Eileen's watching, I'm sure.
Just trying to think of something, like police and donuts, but police and.
It's definitely a crappy issue. Dumb like that. There's good money in that.
Yeah, when Melissa described it about it, and I said, well, why don't we just escalate this whole thing quickly? It's like, get your feel, then get your approval. Let's do it like we do in the streets. Get them started, and then get your approval later.
Keep working out with Richard.
Huh?
He said, working out with Richard.
Yeah, fortunately,
She's doing a great job.
structure. is
She
good
did tell me
enough.
there's a one flush away in the corner for a porta potty. She said,
She
"One
said
flush
that to
away."
me too. She said that to me.
Just like, right there.
That'll keep it so much an hour.
We're one flush away from.
I bought one of those up-flush toilets 20 years ago. That was about $800.
I didn't understand at first, it's like, what septic systems are not too many septic tanks in the city. It's like, oh, no, they're down, have to be pumped up.
I think it's because of the river, right? Because of
Yeah.
the groundwater.
Yeah. Can't go under the river with a pipe and have it slow. It's just, you're going back or forth.
We laugh like our sewer down the plant, we had that reverse siphon, which actually works, it actually, the sewer will come down and through where the farmer's market is, there's another line. And by suction, it actually, the sewer will go down and it actually goes back uphill, so they go.
The laminar flow of water.
Yeah.
I remember the NICEAG guys were freaking out because they were getting pretty close to the depth of that when they were digging in the river.
I'd be, freaking out too, because that's not an easy thing to fix.
Yeah, and now they got an excavator trying to dig out under the pedestrian bridge down there with the fine sewer overflow line right underneath. They shut down all week pedestrian traffic.
The alarms went off the other night because the high flows is insane, and I get a call, I came to people over there were complaining about the line going off. And you guys called, and one of the pumps was low on the diesel exhaust fluid, basically, yeah, with the better emissions. So they were apologetic about it, but they didn't realize it must have been deep and backwards. That's a complex project right there.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm on their weekly calls and there's like 25 people on each one.
No, that, you know,
State, regulatory, the 5 different different subcontractors they have working down there at any one time.
There's people doing what people do, and there's a handful of people on the East Coast that can probably handle that.
The guy who runs it, I mean, he's very good, you know, like fun, right?
Very well, yeah. He calls me at least once a week. He's also talking about who to deal with.
Yeah, considering all the stuff that he
Oh, yeah.
has on his plate, yeah.
So, communication speed.
Yeah.
Nice guy. I hate to see you build that.
I'm sure they can too. The Tracy from NICEAG describes me the process that they have to go through if they need to ask for additional money, and it's international, half a dozen different words.
Either Joel or the English or Spanish. Or
Yeah.
It was all the way back to Spain.
Like every time we encounter something big where I can't forward it into the budget elsewhere, I just want to cry. It's such a mess when I have to do that.
That's like that project that they were running on at the airport. What's it called? The big maintenance plan?
Oh, Laurentian.
Laurentian?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have so many different international owners that they said that to get them to agree on one thing, the review process took a year for it to circle around the world and come back with an answer. And of course, by then, it's another question.
Oh.
Yeah.
Circle the globe and come back again, and that's why they can never get started.
Those are years before Zoom.
That's a good point.
The concept was really impressive. I remember they wanted people there, so they invited me to go for it. Like, yeah, in the car, they let me body, so me and Steve and it was Doug and then the guys from Lux and Gary. Gary.
From the town?
From the county there that does.
Gary Douglas,
Yeah, Gary wanted
Chamber of
all,
Commerce.
yeah, Chamber, he got us all there when they named it Laurentian Boulevard, and I still remember that. And we rushed up there and we're all sitting there, I mean, we weren't interested in doing the work, we just wanted a drugstore business, which was any spin-off. The business that big came to town, I think of all the other businesses with development, fraction, that would have been great for our business.
I got asked if I wanted to work for them to look at raising their financing, doing the support with the ventures, and all the complicated financial borrowing. And so how likely are you to really do something? Before I say, I'll work for you, do you really have a company? Because the lady who was asking me about it, she thought sure it was gonna happen. And then a dozen years later, she's still thinking the same. I mean, yeah, would be a great thing.
Oh, Captain, you're back. We approved a whisk and a hand pump.
A hand pump?
Yeah.
That's fortunate.
Cool. No items were approved, and no items will be approved after the executive session, per the executive session discussion, but I will take a motion to come out of executive session. Motion by Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor McFarland. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there any new business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Gibbs, Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor McFarland. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?